Hello, everyone. Hi, I set it all up and then I clicked something and went away for a minute. So I'm a minute or two late, but we're here. Tommy took my spot, so I'm a little shoved over. If you are here with me in synchronous time, I'd love to love to know that you're here through perhaps a chat. And thanks for joining us today. Looks like I have an assistant. I'm aLex Levin. We're here Sunday mornings Eastern Time in the U.S. at 10 o'clock, and then you can watch whenever later. And so, as I frequently say, we're here in the Sun and Moon Yoga Studio community on YouTube. I frequently express gratitude for this half hour we have together, that you join me to do this, that I have the opportunity, the technology exists. I'm so grateful for it. And this coming together, even though this is virtual, is so important for our wholeness, for our healing. Wholeness and healing, as you probably know, have the same roots of the word. So this half hour together, the overview is that I'll talk a little bit about my theme, and in that time you can be getting your tea, setting up a comfortable spot to be in. I've got a little space heater going. I hope that's not interfering with the sound. And let me know if you're here, if it is. And so you can get yourself ready. So for about a third of the time I'm talking, about a maybe a half of the time, and then we'll do some movement. Very little movement. Today's movement is going to be again it's from the awareness through movement Feldenkrais method. uh, Barely visible but palpable, very palpable, and that's the key thing. And then we'll segue that prepares us nicely for stillness, and then we go about our day. So we're coming into the season, this date of November 19th, I think it is, in here in the US for Thanksgiving Day. And a number of streams of idea has been coming to me about receiving gifts. Um, So I've been inspired by listening lately to Ezra Klein, who is a New York Times writer, but he now has a podcast. Since the October 7th Hamas attack on Israel, he's been inviting speakers from who have various perspectives. The latest one is with a rabbi. Uh, I'm forgetting her name right now, Sharon Blum, I think. And I'm going to post that in the notes, the link to that podcast. All of them, since that I've listened to, have been very good. Some scholars, um, some other writers, journalists. I think, yeah. So, to consult my notes. A gift, and how to hold these images and information that's for some of us coming from far away but so close through the way modern media is. Ideas, various opinions, responses, reactions. I'm struck that all of this coming to us might be gifts. I might not feel like that, and we may not be ready to hold it like that. However, in the work I've been doing, the practice I've been doing of what my teacher has coined as witnessing, and we've all experienced this. I hope. If you haven't, I hope you will, or maybe you just haven't recognized it. When you have somebody truly with you, witnessing, with being with you, not abandoning you into helping, fixing, analyzing, correcting, escaping into their own story. And I am guilty of, I couch it as when somebody shares something with me, I often share my own similar experience. And let me say that there's not anything wrong with any of these responses, actually. All of them are actually fine. But when someone really needs to be heard, seen, when the wounds are consciously or unconsciously close to the surface, to just be listened to. And I'm remembering back when I had some health issues going on 30 years ago, 25 years ago, that I'd seen various doctors, and most of them, nothing was showing up with what was wrong with me. So, in the tests. And so I was sent to therapy, which was a good thing. But when I finally visited an Ayurvedic doctor, actually, who listened to my story and just heard me, affirmed it, even if she didn't, she might have had another perspective or she might have seen something differently. But that affirmation was so freeing, so moving, so liberating, healing for me. So I've had, and I do have regularly friends who are like this, some practitioners who are like this. So if that seems like something new and foreign to you, I wish it, and it seems like it's something you'd like, I hope you can open yourself to that possibility of receiving that kind of witnessing. The practice that I was taught through the Embodied Life School with Russell and Linda Delman of focusing, uh, mm, codified by Eugene Genlin. Um, and there are others who have a similar practice. Even the Stephen's ministry from the Christian tradition is a form of that, of just coming to listen. And sometimes there are, yeah, and repeating, maybe repeating back, mirroring, not even changing it into our own words, but just saying the same words back to the person speaking can be so powerful for that person to feel like an echo of their own experience coming back to them. So, to open to another's suffering, and whether that suffering might be in a rant, in a angry rant from a different perspective, or whether it's from something that might not be easy to have compassion for, or if it's a um, something that easily elicits the tenderness in us, to for us to cultivate the space to hold that again is healing, and it's important that we do this work together. I don't think it can be done alone. I'll share a story my teacher just shared a couple weeks ago. I listened to his recording recently, and he was saying how one morning, going through his usual routine of meditating and then making the coffee, cleaning up, he's looking out his kitchen window, and what was coming through his mind was some of his concerns about his wife, about life, and then coming to presence, to the now moment, to looking out the window, to seeing the amazing red of the maple in the fall. He was arrested into folding that in as well. And it doesn't diminish the concerns and worries that are there, but it opens us and somehow becomes an all-inclusive way of being. And I want to again repeat, we're not always ready for this. And for me, myself, the grace, the forgiveness of retreating as we do, falling back into our patterns, to giving ourselves time to come to this. Like we may be attracted to it, or we might not be attracted to it. We might be hearing it and saying, that's not for me. It's all fine. It's all fine. All right, so let's segue into, I think I have other ideas. There were many streams coming to me on this theme. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, we're embarking on this season of gift giving, of giving thanks, of joining together for meals, for a cup of tea, for trying to slow down as the season beckons us to here in the Northern Hemisphere. And to graciously receive, I think is a close cousin of this receiving others' woundedness or suffering. Can we receive? Can we be open to receiving, as well as going through the joy and care of gift giving? And maybe finally, can we receive the broken parts of ourself and really have the capacity for that more and more? Alrighty, so this next practice you could do lying on your side. That would be optimal, actually. I'm not going to do that, although I could. I think I'm going to just lay back onto the support of this couch, but you might do this sitting upright. You can do it lying down on your back. You can do it lying on your side, as I mentioned. You could do it lying on your front body. And let's receive together the physical support of our surroundings, the ground, primarily, the first place that's really, really, really worth remembering this practice of coming to ground, especially when we might be lost in discomforts, some tied up puzzle where there's not clarity, mind storms. We might remember, if we can remember, to ground, to sense, feel through the body the support that's lifting up. I often question that. It doesn't really feel like it's moving up, but in a sense it is. It's the opposing force to the grounding that's coming down toward the center of the earth, the gravitational pull. It's this coming up from that center of the earth through all its layers, through our man-made structures, through this floor, this couch, and up through my body, connecting with the buoyancy of breath. So gravity and levity coming together. And breath is the second or one of the three pillars of this doorway to presence, to wholeness, to integration. Perhaps you'll find that you might be able to relax your belly a little bit more. Relax the shoulders a little more. And the final of this trio that I use to come to presence is sound. Sound and space around the temperature of your room, the sounds that are coming. Our heat pump just kicked in. I hear the steady hum of the space heater. Okay, now imagine that you divide your torso into three, the upper body from the waist or from the diaphragm muscle up to above the collarbones, the lung and rib area. Divide it into three bands. There's the band that kind of is under the armpits and into the shoulder, the band across the breasts and shoulder blades, perhaps, and then this lower band connecting with the diaphragm muscle. And do this very, very lightly. Just imagine first, as you hear my words, that you allow that lower band to just shift right a little bit. Just shift, and you can do like I'm doing, using my hands. Just shift that right. It doesn't, the other parts may shift as well, and then it comes back into place. And shift it, and if you're lying on your side, you could use your hands or not. And as you shift, you might even find your eyes and your mouth sort of shifting in that direction. Come back to center and totally relax there so that we're starting afresh with each shift slowly and then back into place. If you want to drop the hands, that's fine. And then the next portion, this middle portion, as if it could shift over to the right back. And so notice we're changing our shape. We're shape shifting, changing our shape in space. I hadn't done this using my hands in quite a long time, and it's really nice. And let's go ahead on this middle one, go the other way. Go through center and go to the left. Back to center and pause, completely arriving. And to the right again. The right and left sides may feel different. And fold in what you're feeling at the nearby regions of the shoulders, of that lower band, of the hips and low back. Okay, let it go. Notice breath, ground, sound. And then I'm going to just hook my armpits, kind of not really hook them into my the front part of that these tendons in the front shoulder, but the armpit chest, as the Iyengar's say. But I'm just pressing my thumbs against the top ribs just below my armpit, and I'm just lightly, as if pushing, suggesting with my left thumb to push that top layer. Actually, I am going to go up into my armpits. Still feel the ribs there. Go right and then back to center and just rest at center, and then just we'll go right again. This area, I find the middle band the easiest. The top band and the lower are tougher. Breathing, feeling that buoyancy of the levity, the partner of the gravity. And then let go. And I'm going to segue here to our stillness. You might stay just where you are. I'm tempted to, but also I'd like to sit up without the support of the back of the couch. So I'm going to shift slightly. And perhaps your preference is to stop the video and do the movements to the other side. So, whatever you need to do to set up for the stillness portion after the movement, just not agitating too much to let ourselves slide right into it. Setting up your mudra if that's your practice, setting your gaze or closing your eyes. Excuse me, and just making any minor little tweaks or just being where you are, whatever shape or shifting left you in. And we'll sit for about 7 minutes in silence and stillness. I'll be uttering some words, but I'll try to leave lots of space for silence as well. Relaxing at the hinges of the jaw and recognizing that perhaps, especially those of us who easily open our hearts and minds to a lot of difficult information and experiences, some of us with perhaps a little less firm boundaries, but anyone whose heart is tender, we are carrying not only in our hearts and minds, in our hearts, but also in our minds. And also, as Russell just said, and this is a very interesting teaching, our brains have evolved to be able to carry these images, experiences, even if vicarious, through time. And that puzzled me a little till I thought, yes, I think there are many animals, perhaps, I'm not sure if it's accurate, who kind of let go of experience more easily. Now, some of our domesticated animals, they seem to carry experience, and others, other non-domesticated, but they seem to also more easily shed a lot of baggage. And so coming together in this practice will can help us to grow our capacity to hold that, but also a joy, beauty, peace that is here, the gifts that come. We're training in part in spaciousness, space, the element where that accepts all, does not reject anything. training in maintaining our ground while something is difficult is coming for us, is here with us, and simultaneously opening, softening, not running away, but also not losing the bigger picture. Handful more breaths together. Startled cat. Thank you for joining me today. And I hope there will be a hope for you. I wish for you something you can take with you into your week. Perhaps something came to you. What came to me is to try to remember when I'm struggling. That simple practice that I teach over and over because I need to learn it. Ground, breath, sound. Come to that opens us up and begins to allow the energy to move, the twisted to unravel. Thanks for joining me and my assistants rock over here and tell me happy Thanksgiving. May you receive well, and I'll see you next time. Thank you for joining me. Somebody's here real time and don't know who, but thank you. And you friends who join me regularly, thank you, thank you. Check out sunandmoonstudio.com.